So I've been dating this guy who I really like. He doesn't live in New York City. He has an apartment here. He comes here fairly regularly, and we talk on the phone all the time. And like 4 or 5 days ago, I don't know what the time frame was. We were on the phone for literally 3 hours. I have no idea. It feels like high school again. I don't know what we talk about, but we started talking. And I was sharing some really vulnerable things as we're getting to know each other. And I had even said to him, I'm concerned I'm going to wake up tomorrow and have severe vulnerability backlash. And I woke up and I did. I was like, oh my God, I probably shared too much. And I felt like possibly I verbally vomited all over him. But it's like, and I had a little bit of anxiety around it. And then I had to have like this come to Jesus moment of when you're getting to know someone, right? I don't know. I feel like it's such a balance. It's like you want to share when the time is right, because if you don't, then they're not going to really get to know you.
Right.
And I really had to come to this realization of, if I don't share and I'm not vulnerable, then he's not going to really know who I am. And then what's the fucking point? And if he does find out these things that I'm sharing and he is judgmental or they bother him, then that tells me something too. And that this isn't someone that I want to spend time with.
Exactly. And no offense, but I don't know you perfectly, right? I don't know everything there is to know about you.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in the big scheme of things, you're kind of a normal person, right? You're not an axe murderer. You're not
that you know of. I'm just kidding.
That's what I know of. You're right, that I know of. I know you're a liberal, and you're a liberal.
I am a liberal. And it's funny, the one reason I really like this person is he considers himself a radical. Like liberals are conservative for him.
Okay.
And so he really pushes me. And I like that. I enjoy it. I agree with him on a lot. Like that's the thing, is on most of the things when it comes to politics that he feels, I'm like, I agree. I just recognize that it's not realistic in our political climate.
Right. But that doesn't, I support his right to feel those things and to think them and to thought process them out. I'm it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, so I do understand. Don't misunderstand me. I totally get what you're saying, in the sense that, you know, some people are way more judgmental than other people.
Yeah. And you're still getting to know someone, like you don't know how they're going to respond to something. Right. But I also had like this overwhelming, and maybe it was more of a self-reflection. It's like, I don't share those things often. So it's like a lot of emotion came up just talking about them and hearing them. And I will say he was so lovely. I talked to him the next night and he's like, I hope you did not have vulnerability backlash today. He's like, it's a safe space. You're fine.
But that is great. And you also hit the nail on the head originally when you're like, if he is that, not this guy, but people in general, if Correct. They're those people that are just like, well, I don't want anything to do with you, then you say, great, thank you.
Yeah. You just told me exactly who you are, right?
You saved me a lot of pain and suffering, right? Yeah. So I just said the other day to someone that, I mean, like, what you see is what you get. This is it. There's no, you know, I mean, I react to things the way I react to things. I dress the way I dress. I carry myself the way I carry myself. Now, I want to correct bad behaviors in myself. That will be something so I never want to say, like, it's funny, you and I had this conversation. I'm never going to say, well, I don't care what you think. I don't care what other people think. I do care. I don't care in the sense that, you know, I don't care if they think my hair doesn't look good, right? I'm like, I'm sorry you don't like the length of my hair. Sorry about that. Don't let me offend you. How about if I go away till it gets to the length you like? Let's not see each other, right? Until it's the length you want it to be. But but if it was, Sherry, your words really hurt my feelings, then I would be like, yeah, let's talk about that because that makes a difference to me.
Of course.
But, so he called you. You guys did talk after your vulnerability. And do you feel better?
Oh my God, yeah, 100%, 100%. I think it was just, all of us have things that have been in our past and you don't talk about them often, right? It's like unless there's a reason to, or something comes up, or maybe you're triggered, or there's a memory, they're just something that's happened and that's it. But yeah, all of a sudden I found myself sharing these, and it's just, so it wasn't even about him as much as I think it was about me, right? And like thinking about them and feeling it again. And yeah, and maybe my own judgment, right? It was just like my own judgment about the situation or how I handled it or whatever it was. I don't even remember. Like I shared so much with him, like I don't even, and that was the other part. I'm like, oh my God, I felt like it was just so much.
Do you feel he shared equally with you?
Yeah, that's the nice thing is we have like a really good balance, right? So I think we both are very curious people and both ask a lot of questions. So, the night or two before that we had spoken, he shared a lot. So it wasn't like it was just, and that was the other thing is it wasn't a tit for tat or like I felt like I owed him, but I'm like, if he's going to be vulnerable, I need to do the same, right? I don't want to go in and just learn everything there is to know about him and me be the one that's making judgments about him and not reciprocate. I never say that word right, but
the other part of that though is it's nice to find people. I think we've had this conversation before where at this moment in my life I'm not dating, right? But I have a tendency to make snap judgments about people that cannot use this in a sentence. And what about you? Right? So I talk to a lot of people every day, lots of them. I sell things. I sell hope and a cure for cancer, hopefully, but so I sell things. But so I talk to a lot of people, and rarely is there a space where somebody then turns around and says, hey, well, what about you? I usually am asking all the questions. People are talking at me. As a matter of fact, the guy I was sitting next to in the bar, what do you want to know about him, right? He's an ex-LA County sheriff. He's retired. He lives in North Carolina with his girlfriend, not his wife. He travels to Las Vegas. I mean, like, seriously, I could tell you his whole life story.
Never asked you a thing.
Not one question. Not when he asked me to watch his $900 in his machine that I didn't think about taking. But I wasn't mad. I mean, we're not dating. Obviously, we're not on a date, right? But I mean, when I talk to people and they ask me questions, I am kind of aware that I'm curious about them as well. I would be somewhat curious. Yeah, last night I met two boys. They're actually from Washington, D.C. They are Capitol police officers. It was a fascinating conversation. It was kind of disheartening. And they're young though.
How was it disheartening?
They hate people. I mean, I always get a little stressed out when I hear police officers hate people. It's like pastors that hate people. I'm like, it just doesn't go very well together. No. So, but they were young, right? One of them was 25, one was 27.
It's way too young to hate people.
What?
I said that's way too young to hate people.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
I mean, it's never a good age.
Yeah.
But I kind of get the 80-year-olds like, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. Yeah. I'm this close to that, by the way. But
I'm very close. Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's where it was disheartening. I was just like, and it's again, and you and I have had conversations, and I feel bad because I'm not trying to single out 25-year-olds, but I struggle with that age group in not in every way, but just in, there's so many great life experiences that you haven't had yet that I'd love for you to have before you tell me how much you hate people. Right?
Well, and the fact that, they hate people and have guns.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, and of power, there's the power dynamic, but
Yep. It was an interesting conversation, but yeah, I cannot remember what the fuck we were just talking. Oh, being vulnerable. And like, I asked them a million questions. Again, I could tell you how many siblings each of them have.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you where they were both born. One of them is a combination Jewish Italian boy. The other one was a very tall, slender, gorgeous African American boy. And he's from Pittsburgh, but he's not a Steeler fan, so I almost stopped talking to him right then and there. But he's an Eagles fan, and I go, I guess I have to give it to him because they're in Philadelphia. So what are you going to do, right? Yeah, that's what I said. But I mean, and what do you think they can tell you about me?
Absolutely nothing.
Not a thing. They do know I live in Las Vegas. They know I live here, but, and I'm like, again, not on a date with these people, right? But at some point, did we just give up being curious about our fellow man?
Yeah. I think we make a lot of assumptions, right? I think that you can look at someone, I don't remember what the stat is. It's really short though. It's like you meet someone and judge them in like 2 seconds. And I think a lot of people just look at someone and assume that they know who they are, how they've lived. And yeah, there's not a lot of curiosity about just life in general anymore.
I'm like, that's so interesting to me, right? Like, it's kind of a foreign concept. Something else one of these gentlemen said to me, and we've talked about it like a couple of times already today. So I find it fascinating that this topic is coming up. So maybe we're going to focus on it, which was not my original plan. But I had told him I had met another young man in a bar, different bar, same city. And he got really pissed off at me because we had this, excuse Eloise while she does whatever the fuck she wants. Yes, Eloise. We had this conversation about judgment and being judgmental. And he got mad at me because he did not like my philosophy. And all I said was, I am human. I am judgmental. Yes. I mean, we're all judgmental.
100%.
I feel I am so aware of the fact that I am judgmental, that I do try and correct that behavior as much as I possibly can. I am not perfect. I can't be and then some things I'm just judgmental about. It is what it is. If you are a Baltimore Ravens fan, the conversation is over.
Uh-oh, you're not gonna like
the new guy.
He is from Baltimore.
Oh, Jesus, Lord and Savior, what are you doing? I'm kidding. You know
that's where he lives.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker for me, my friend, but it's not really. But I like to make flippant jokes like that. Oh, does he drive a Subaru? Because that's 2 strikes against him right there.
A Subaru? What is wrong with driving a Subaru?
I can't even.
Oh my God.
I lived in the Pacific Northwest where it's all Subarus and all of them. I'm an aggressive driver. I will fully admit it's my fault, right? I'm aggressive. I'm like, get out of my way. I'm like, the speed limit is 55. You have to go at least 55 miles an hour. And someone reminded me, no, that's the limit they can go. They can go under it. They're allowed. I'm like, what? But yeah, so again, it's just a joke. I don't like Subarus either. So, but so I'm aware that I'm judgmental, and I will literally like try and do this thought process, like, oh, that girl's outfit is ridiculous, and then I'll be like, but you know what? She's happy in it. That's what she wanted to wear. It's none of my freaking business.
Yep.
It doesn't hurt me. It's not painful. I'm like, how could you say something like that? And it's a 2-second part, right? I will start with, that girl looks ridiculous in that outfit. And then I will end with, well, shut the fuck up, Sherry. Right? Like, let it go. It's none of your business. She's happy. What's your problem? So I try and catch my junk. And he thought that was the dumbest thing ever. And so did this young man yesterday, where he's like, I like being judgmental. And I was like, what? And he goes, well, I'd rather be judgmental than boring. And I'm like, so you're equating my ability
have anything to do with each other.
Yes. I'm like, so you're saying you think I'm boring. Well, it brought me to this point right here. It brought me to evaluate my life, right? Because again, I don't always care what people say, but I'm willing to take 5 seconds or 5 minutes or 5 hours, whatever, and evaluate the statement. Like, is my life boring? And I realized, mind you, the night before I went to see Def Leppard, last night I went to see Metalachi, right? I'm having cocktails with a friend of mine. I made friends with people I've never met before. I had cocktails I've never drank before. Yeah, I'm just like, no, I don't think my life's boring. I was really, in the end, I was like, no, I'm not. I don't feel like my life is boring. And I'm learning to not be judgmental about people. So it was just and that is why I like to talk and find out about other people. It didn't make me mad that he thought he's 25. I mean, he's an idiot, right? So
well, there's that.
Not actually an idiot. Actually, he was a very intelligent young man, which I appreciated. I just didn't agree with him on this particular topic. And I continued to talk to him, right? I didn't get bent out of shape. I wasn't angry at him. I just was like, I don't agree. And I was like, gosh, I had a good time. It was fun. It was interesting. I got a picture of me sitting on his lap just to prove that I can sit on young boys' laps. But, it's just, I love the idea that we are, and even said to him, well, we're all related, depending on if you believe in certain aspects. Like if you believe in creation, and this is why I don't understand when Christians are like an us and them mentality. There is no us and them, right? It's we are here together. According to religion, we all come from the same 2 people.
Well, and that's what's crazy to me when you think about like the Christian. I think that the fundamentalists to me are different than Christians in some way. And when you think about how they view humanity, for example, it's that us versus them. It's the same as the Muslims, right? They have, the infidels. It's like they think of that's an us versus them.
Yeah.
The idea of book banning and book burning and controlling what women do with their bodies. And they're so much more alike than not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of fascinating. Interesting enough, I can, from a step back at it angle, human nature in general, this is not every single human being, but human nature in general is give me an inch and I'll take a mile. And I do it even like when I drive. I'm like, I know the speed limit is 55, but everybody else is going 60. So can I go 65 because I have the, so I'll take a mile in some instances, and so I get it. But then again, we go back to regulating morality. What you read, I mean, you cannot force people into heaven, right? Even according to the Christian doctrine is I can't force you to behave and you'll get into heaven. You have to willingly, openly accept Jesus. That's the only way into heaven. So to tell me I can't read a book isn't going to help me.
No, of course
It's
not.
not going to fix the situation, according to you. So, yeah.
It's really funny
And
you mentioned heaven, and this is a total side note, like
I
random.
love our side notes because
So I was meeting a friend of mine at a friend of hers place last night, and one of the women I had never met before, and apparently I guess she was in the shower and she said to her partner, like, what time are Kate and Heaven gonna be here? And she's like, who's Heaven? And all she just kept calling me Heaven. All she's like, I knew it was something. I was close. I'm like, I'll take it. I don't care. Like,
Yep.
I've never been called Heaven before, but like, she's like, well, it just made, she's like, I knew it was one of those names that just felt good.
yes, it's a good. I'm like, I think I might have called you Heavenly once or twice. Does that count?
But not, I guess that's an adjective versus the pronoun or a noun, right?